Hello.
We're from Group 8, in Object-Oriented Analysis and Design.
I'm Gabby.
I'm Nisa.
I'm Sharen.
And I'm Nico. We will discuss about SDLC Waterfall and SCRUM. Let's start now. Do you know about SDLC? Okay, I will tell you about SDLC methodology. SDLC is Systems Development Life Cycle. This term used in systems engineering, information systems and software engineering to describe a process for planning, creating, testing, and deploying an information system. Now we will discuss about SDLC Waterfall and SCRUM. First, Waterfall methodology. Waterfall referred to as a linear sequential life cycle model in a waterfall model. Each phase must be completed before the next phase can begin, and there is no overlapping in the phases. Now, what about the concept of waterfall? First, is about communication. In the communication phase, the major task performed is requirement gathering, which helps in finding out customer needed. Second, is about planning. Planning is about planning for schedule, keeping tracks on the processes and the estimation related to the project are done. And next, is about modeling. This is one of the important phases of the architecture of the system is designed in this phase. Different models for developing software are created depending on the requirements gathered in the first and the second phase. The next step is about construction phase. The actual coding of the software is done in this phase. This coding is done on the basis of the model designed in the modeling phase. So in this phase software is actually developed and tested. The last step of waterfall modeling is about deployment. In this last phase, the product is actually rolled out, or delivered, and installed at customer's end, and support is given. Feedback is taken from the customer to ensure the quality of the product. Now we will discuss about advantages and disadvantages of waterfall methodology. First is about the advantages of waterfall. The waterfall model is the oldest and most widely used model in the field of software development. First, being a linear model, it is very simple to implement. The amount of resources required to implement this model are minimal. Second, documentation is produced at every stage of the software's development. This makes understanding the product designing. Third, after every major stage of software coding, testing is done to check the correct running of the code. Next, is about disadvantages of waterfall modeling. First, ironically, the biggest disadvantage is one of its greatest advantages. You cannot go back a step. Second, often, the client is not very clear of what he exactly wants from the software. Third, small changes, or errors, that arise in the completed software may cause a lot of problems. Last, a working model of the software does not lie in the hands of the client. That's all are about waterfall modeling. For next lesson will be lead by my partner.
Hello, I will be lead you to study, for next lesson. Our second lessons is about SCRUM methodology. SCRUM is a simple set of roles, responsibilities, and meetings that never change, by removing unnecessary unpredictability. Better able to cope with the necessary unpredictability of continuous discovery and learning. And now, what about the operation of SCRUM? First, the client, or sponsor, or product owner, defines the system requirements to develop product backlog. Always under the figure of a supervisory assistant, or Scrum Master. Second, these requirements are broken down into several more manageable work packages. Sprint backlog, which can go from 2 to 4 weeks of work per package, This decomposition is done in a meeting or sprint planning meeting that can last up to 8 hours, and where it is defined the what and how the work will be prepared. Next is, the self-organized work team has a daily Scrum meeting for about 15 minutes. At this meeting each one exposes what it did, what it will do and what problems it has encountered, and it is debated among all as how to perform the tasks. The fourth step, when a sprint completes a meeting, here the resulting product of the sprint backlog is presented. A sprint retrospective meeting can also be held for up to 3 hours, evaluating the techniques and skills used to assess whether they can be improved and applied for the following sprints. Last, repeating for each sprint backlog, we would obtain the final product as a succession of small increments. Product owner is a customer or sponsor. Scrum Master, supervisor who assists the whole process. Members of the development team. That's enough for the lessons about SDLC Waterfall and Scrum. Thank you for your attention.